Chosen one, you didn't land here by luck. You were led here on purpose. This moment, it's divine. It's personal. It's prophetic. Something in your spirit has been stirring. You've felt it. You've seen the signs. You know deep down that you're not just surviving. You're being set up for something greater. And guess what? You're right. This message isn't random noise on your feed. It's a confirmation from heaven. This is for the ones who felt unseen but stayed faithful. The ones who've been in the background, growing in silence, wondering when their time would come. Newsflash, your time is here. This space was created with you in mind. The called, the chosen, the ones who refused to quit even when no one was clapping. You're not overlooked. You're on reserve. And now the signal has been sent. It's time to rise. Before we go any deeper, take a breath and settle into this truth. You are not average, and your journey has not been in vain. You carry oil, power, and purpose that hell couldn't cancel. And what's coming next? It's not just a blessing, it's a breakthrough tied to your destiny. So lean in. Share this with someone you know is built for more. Drop a 55 in the comments if you can feel this word already waking something up inside you. Because we're about to unlock clarity, ignite purpose, and walk straight into divine alignment. Chapter by chapter, layer by layer, your assignment is about to make sense. This isn't hype, it's heaven. And if you're here right now, you're right on time. Let's go, looking for purpose and peace? Hit subscribe and start the journey. It wasn't dismissal, it was design. The silence surrounding your journey wasn't emptiness. It was a sacred hush before something rare emerged. Absence from the spotlight wasn't evidence of inadequacy, but of an intricate timing working beyond visible grasp. You weren't overlooked because you lacked brilliance, but because what you held was unfamiliar, too refined for rushed exposure. There was a richness within you that couldn't be poured into just any vessel, so the pouring had to wait. Isolation wasn't exile, it was incubation. The world wasn't ignoring you. It simply wasn't equipped yet to engage with the depth that had been shaped within your shadows. You weren't sidelined, you were safeguarded. Disappointment was merely the disguise of protection, and missed opportunities were actually closed exits that would have led to less than what you were meant to carry. While noise surrounded others, you moved through stillness, taught by tension, trained in obscurity, sharpened without applause. While others made alliances in plain sight, you were gathering clarity in quiet places. You were being calibrated to hold what noise could never prepare someone for. This waiting wasn't punishment, but precision. You weren't waiting in vain. You were being timed to collide with destiny when everything could receive the full weight of your becoming. The delay wasn't negligence, it was orchestration. Make your impact eternal. Join now and be a light in someone's darkness. Had exposure come earlier, the essence of your identity might have been diluted, rebranded by expectations too narrow for your calling. Voices would have tried to define what only time and purpose could rightly reveal, so the unfolding had to happen in phases, not to frustrate you, but to frame you. And now, the tide is turning. The unseen hours have echoed into eternity, and the moment crafted for you, the exact alignment of place, presence, and purpose, is arriving not a second too soon or too late. What once felt like the absence of movement was actually the presence of strategy. And now that everything has shifted, you're not stepping into something new. You're stepping into what always awaited the right conditions to reveal its full meaning. It was never about grabbing attention. It was about aligning with assignment. The arrival point is not a prize for endurance. It is the intersection of design and readiness. What appears like a moment of favor is, in truth, the unveiling of something embedded in you before time ever moved. It is not a milestone of luck. It is a manifestation of long-held intent. What unfolds now is the culmination of countless quiet transitions. Every unnoticed shift, every uncelebrated decision, every time the path seemed barren, all of it led here. What once felt like delay was deliberate depth. This moment was never about achieving status, but about stepping into the rhythm of something far larger than personal ambition. The reward is not applause, it's alignment with legacy. This phase brings connection beyond admiration. It calls forth those who resonate with your rhythm, not just your results. Those who move with purpose, not pretense. This convergence carries recompense, not as a transaction, but as restoration. Not just for the wounds inflicted, but for the weight endured. This emergence bears insight, the kind that settles what confusion once stirred, the kind that clears paths clouded for years. If your heart overflows with divine love, now is the moment to let it shine. Click the super thank you button on YouTube and give $50 or more to help carry God's light to others. Your gift will bless not only your life, but countless others. You are part of His sacred plan. Your kindness may be the answer to someone's prayer. Share your blessings and honor His kingdom. May His grace guide you always. But what is beginning cannot be rushed. Its shape requires precision. Not every companion from your former season is fit for this stretch. Some were necessary in the wilderness, but cannot sustain the altitude of where you are headed. This next passage demands more than loyalty. It requires alignment. Proximity is no longer enough. Harmony is now essential. This movement is not accidental. The process has been methodical, internally as much as externally. Growth was required where no one could see, in thought, in motive, in resilience. It had to be so. Influence is too heavy for the heart that still bleeds for approval. No door will open now unless it echoes the sound of your calling. No opportunity will last unless it strengthens the truth of who you've become. The pace may have confused you, but the delay wasn't carelessness, it was calibration. The journey needed the silence to sand down what pride would have sharpened. You weren't being kept back. You were being made ready to carry presence without performance, vision without striving, clarity without chaos. No more chasing entry. This moment recognizes what has already matured. And this is not a peak. This is a pivot. What begins here is not about taking your place. It's about becoming a place others can find strength through. The breakthrough was never just yours to hold. It was always meant to be a doorway for many, built from your unseen obedience, your private yes, and your unwavering endurance through the silence that once felt like absence, but was, in truth, the architect of your arrival. The ache of unanswered timing has echoed in your questions. The stretch between promise and fulfillment has often felt unending. But this in-between wasn't a pause. It was a process, not a detour, but a deepening. It was never meant to break you. It was meant to build what could not be formed in motion. What looked like stagnation was in fact the shaping of what could endure more than a moment. This phase functioned as a sacred threshold, a place of quiet refining, not loud arrival. Here, where explanations were few, transformation took root. It wasn't a space to perform, but to perceive. Here, the noise of expectations fell silent, so the voice of truth could rise. Not through answers, but through awareness. Not through clarity, but through confrontation. With doubt, with desire, with dependence. Everything that couldn't follow you forward had to fall away first. The silence recalibrated your values. It taught you how to measure identity not by production, but by presence. In the quiet, you learned to trust depth over display. What the world called inactivity, heaven saw as sacred reconstruction. This unseen stretch taught you how to carry meaning without needing to be seen, how to offer devotion without needing validation. Beneath the surface, old patterns unraveled. Habits born of fear began to lose their grip. The pieces of you shaped by survival slowly gave way to the version formed by truth. This wasn't exile, it was extraction, pulling you away from what diluted your purpose into a solitude where clarity could be cultivated. Strength wasn't added to you, it was awakened in you. Others may have chased timelines. You learned to grow depth. While pace obsessed the many, you surrendered to being prepared. You didn't just gain patience, you inherited perspective. What's been forged here carries a weight that imitation can't hold. It wasn't given, it was earned through surrender, through staying, through letting the unknown shape what certainty could not. When the door opens, you won't arrive empty. You'll carry a grounded spirit and sharpened discernment. You won't need to announce what's been formed in you. Your presence will testify. You won't enter to be affirmed. You'll step in, carrying an assurance that came not from applause, but from surviving what was designed to strengthen you. Make your impact eternal. Join now and be a light in someone's darkness. So this was never just about holding on. It was about becoming. The discomfort was not rejection, but reformation. What you walked through wasn't to delay your story, but to deepen its meaning. And now, as new space unfolds before you, you enter not with desperation, but with quiet authority, knowing what was required, and knowing that what was forming you was never absence, but intention all along. Elevation was never meant to happen behind closed curtains. It was always designed to be seen, not as a show of power, but as a statement of purpose. What unfolds before those who once misunderstood your journey isn't spectacle, it's strategy. It's not personal payback, it's prophetic unveiling. The very eyes that once looked past you will now see what could not be hidden forever. This revealing is not built on ego, but on evidence, the quiet kind, the kind that emerges without noise, yet cannot be denied. The shift they witness is not accidental. It is intentional, measured, and anchored in what they never cared to look for. They only glimpsed your beginning. They never stayed long enough to perceive the internal rebuild that was happening in silence. What they dismissed as insignificance was the seed of something sacred. They saw the shell. They missed the substance. They heard your quiet and mistook it for weakness. They saw restraint and misunderstood it as irrelevance. But while they formed conclusions, something greater was being constructed in you, not for validation, but for visibility with purpose. Not everyone who walked away was malicious. Many simply lacked the lens to see what was still being formed. And now, without warning, the story turns. The ground you once struggled on has become your footing. The voice they ignored now speaks with weight, and their disbelief becomes the backdrop against which the transformation is made clear. But this moment is not about proving them wrong. It's about showing what alignment with purpose can do. The shift is not an act of vengeance. It's a declaration that divine will moves regardless of human perception. What rises now is not the result of striving, but of surrender. This emergence carries no bitterness, only clarity, no resentment, only radiance. If your heart overflows with divine love, now is the moment to let it shine. Click the super thank you button on YouTube and give $50 or more to help carry God's light to others. Your gift will bless not only your life, but countless others. You are part of His sacred plan. Your kindness may be the answer to someone's prayer. Share your blessings and honor His kingdom. May His grace guide you always. The very people who spoke too soon will be present, not as enemies, but as observers of a work far greater than human hands. They will not just see a person elevated, they will witness a life remade. They'll see not just achievement, but transformation. The echoes of your obedience will reach where your voice never needed to. This is what a holy unveiling looks like. It does not thunder through crowds, but it shifts atmospheres. It is not loud, yet it is unforgettable. The ones who questioned you may return, not to challenge, but to understand. Some will come with remorse, others with reverence, but all will come face to face with the undeniable truth. The path they overlooked was always divine in its direction. The world may have trained you to believe that progress is always earned through exhaustion, that worth is proven through effort, repetition, and constant knocking on doors that never open. But the next phase rewrites that rhythm. This unfolding is not built on pushing. It is birthed in presence. You won't need to chase what was crafted with you in mind. What carries your name does not require performance to access. What's aligned with your journey won't ask you to campaign for recognition. The shift now is subtle but sovereign. Doors no longer respond to effort. They respond to essence. They will recognize what has been cultivated in silence. What once required applications will now come through alignment. Invitations will arrive from unexpected places. Your name will rise in circles your hands never reached, not because of your hustle, but because your surrender sent signals that effort never could. Obedience, not strategy, positioned you in their awareness. Spirit, not self-promotion, made room. This is what happens when divine timing finds its moment. Movement comes without strain. Rooms open not because of who you know, but because of what's been deposited in you. Nothing will demand you to wear a version that doesn't fit. Every space will be shaped for the version of you that emerged from endurance. Where you once fought to be seen, favor now goes ahead of you. Where you once had to explain your worth, the evidence now speaks in your place. You won't need to dilute your identity to remain welcome. The very essence, refined in private, is what now grants access. Not because the system shifted, but because heaven cleared the path. And here's the paradox. These openings are not just about your passage. They are about becoming a pathway. Your arrival carries weight not just for you, but for others who will walk through doors made visible by your presence. Impact doesn't stop at entry. It flows through influence, quiet, steady, and transformational. This all unfolds because now everything within you is ready. Ready not in appearance, but in posture. Ready not for attention, but for assignment. You no longer wait to be picked. You walk where you're placed. Confidence no longer comes from what's around you, but from what's been fortified within. Striving is no longer your rhythm. Desperation has lost its grip. You've outgrown the urge to force what is already fixed. What opens now does so because it must, because your journey has reached the exact intersection where purpose reveals itself. There is no need to push, only to step in, fully formed and faithfully present. There are moments when the shift arrives so suddenly, it feels foreign to step into what you've long been preparing for. After walking through seasons marked by stillness and obscurity, stepping forward can feel unnatural, as though the silence that shaped you is trying to convince you to stay behind it. Make your impact eternal. Join now and be a light in someone's darkness. But hesitation has no place here. Everything you've walked through was molding more than your actions. It was shaping your capacity. You weren't just being delayed, you were being deepened. And now that the signal has come to rise, shrinkage is not an option. This isn't about promotion. It's about purpose being activated. You don't need to soften your presence to soothe someone else's discomfort. This emergence wasn't bought with shortcuts. It was built in silence, through choices that honored growth over gratification. The space that's opening before you isn't random. It's the result of every quiet decision, every moment you chose integrity over image, surrender over speed. What you're walking into isn't a fluke. It's a reflection of what was already unfolding in the unseen. This isn't about being noticed, it's about being needed. The world isn't simply looking for talent, it's looking for truth, wrapped in obedience. That's why your name is being called now. Not because you demanded a spotlight, but because your transformation carries weight. There's no requirement to explain how you got here. You don't need to minimize what's been entrusted to you. What you carry is not up for debate. It was entrusted to you in the furnace of unseen faithfulness. You don't have to dim what was refined in darkness. The time of hiding wasn't a loss. It was the forging of a vessel strong enough to stand without apology. So when your time comes, and it is now, step with clarity. Let your posture reflect the preparation. You're not stepping in as someone who wants approval. You're stepping in as someone who's already aligned. This assignment isn't about performance. It's about showing up as the version of yourself that can hold what others can't yet see. This isn't merely a platform, it's a purpose point. It's not about eyes on you. It's about lives impacted through you. Where you're being sent, the light you carry matters more than the title. Your rise isn't just elevation, it's an answer. Someone has been waiting for the voice you've tried to mute. Now is not the time to be quiet. So do not question what has already been settled. Do not second guess what heaven has confirmed. When you step forward now, you carry more than experience. You carry authority. And with that comes a responsibility to remain surrendered. This isn't just your unveiling. It's a moment of divine assignment, stepping into human timing. Steady, bold, and beautifully unshaken. The turning point you've entered may look like culmination, but it's actually initiation. What surrounds you now is not a finish line. It's a threshold. This isn't the celebration of closure. It's the signal of a deeper calling. What once felt distant is now within reach, not as a reward to rest in, but as a place to rise from. You've emerged from seasons that required silence, tested trust, and demanded invisible endurance. And now, what begins is not compensation, it's commission. This is the season where preparation becomes movement, where what was once held privately in your spirit starts to ripple outward with power. What you're stepping into carries weight not only for you, but for generations to come. Your arrival in this moment doesn't signal comfort, it marks calling. What appears like elevation is actually a divine positioning. You weren't placed here for applause, but for impact. This isn't your story coming full circle, it's your story gaining depth. The spotlight doesn't mean the voice that guided you is finished speaking. It means you're now required to listen more closely than ever. The gravity of this place demands vigilance. Just because the path has widened doesn't mean your posture should shift. Stay low in spirit, even when your platform expands. Carry reverence where others might crave recognition. Power without purpose becomes distraction, and growth without grounding becomes dangerous. Your story was never built on shortcuts. You arrived here through fire, not fame, through uncelebrated nights, not surface-level striving. That journey matters. Let it protect your motives and preserve your clarity. Remember the inner terrain you had to navigate, the unknowns, the weariness, the moments where quitting would have been easier than continuing. Yet you pressed on. You are not here to coast, you are here to carry something sacred. This space isn't about personal gain, it's about strategic placement. You have not just been seen, you have been stationed. The shift you feel is not about finally being noticed, it's about being trusted. Now, more than ever, sharpen your discernment. Not everything that glows was lit by the right fire. Opportunities will come dressed as ease. Stay close to what centers you. Remain anchored in what first gave you breath. This is not the time to chase noise or comparison. The path ahead is sharp, and your clarity must be sharper. Here's your assurance. You are not navigating this alone. The same grace that sustained you when no one saw you will sustain you when everyone is watching. The strength that held you together when things were falling apart will now stabilize your influence. Your rise is wrapped in the same care that once carried you in silence. Let your heart stay clean. Let your intentions stay honest. Influence means nothing without intimacy. You are not here for popularity. You are here to reflect purpose. This moment, as magnificent as it may feel, is only the opening sequence of something more profound. You will need everything forged in the quiet, the resilience, the wisdom, the spiritual reflexes, because they are the tools that will sustain your next. The ascent doesn't replace your posture of surrender, it reinforces it. Keep your soul soft, keep your ears open, keep your devotion deeper than your visibility. This beginning demands everything your hidden season built. So step forward without fear. Speak when needed. Lead without ego. Love with depth. Keep your eyes fixed not on the moment, but on the mission. The journey ahead will stretch you, but it will also multiply you. Not for the sake of spotlight, but so that light itself can be carried into places where it's been missing far too long.